Hello there, boys and girls. Tonight's lesson is lesson 10.2, classifying triangles. Our essential question is, how can you classify triangles by the size of their angles? Please write this down in your essential question notes. How can you classify triangles by the size of their angles? A triangle is a polygon with 3 sides and 3 different angles. You can name a triangle by the vertices of its angles. For example, there are 6 possible names that you can name this triangle. You could call it triangle ABC, or BCA, or CAB, or ACB, or BAC, or CBA. Now when you see this symbol right over here, that little triangle, you see it right here, that is where you insert the name triangle. I'm going to refer to this triangle right here as triangle ABC. Now let's look at this definition of a right triangle. A right triangle is a triangle with one right angle. Now, boys and girls, whenever you see a right angle, for example, here, here, and here, remember a right angle will make a perfect square corner because it's a 90 degrees corner. So if you look right here, this angle is 90 degrees, therefore it could form a square. And that's why we stick this little blue little square right here. That just lets you know that, oh my goodness, that's a right angle. Now, a right triangle has 2 acute angles. If you look right here, this angle here is acute and so is this because we have one right angle. It's impossible to have an obtuse angle if you have a right triangle because if you look right here, it's making a right angle. Well, this vertice and this vertice get connected and therefore they can only be acute. Right here and here. So look at this up here, this little thought bubble. A right triangle, which is an example of these 3 triangles, all have 2 acute angles as well. Now, don't call this an acute triangle because you see 2 acute angles. That's misleading. A right triangle will be called a right triangle if it's a triangle with one right angle. Now, let's look at this example down here. Triangle PQR. That's this triangle right here, PQR, and BDC are right triangles. These are both right triangles because, as you can see, there's a right angle right here and right here. So go ahead and write in your notes, right triangle. Make sure you say it is a triangle with one right angle. And why don't you go ahead and try to draw a right triangle? For example, you would make, as close as you can, I want you to make a right angle and then connect the other 2 together that look acute, and then go ahead and make a little square right there to show that this is in fact a right triangle. The next type of triangle I'm going to teach you is called an acute triangle. An acute triangle is a triangle with 3 acute angles. Now remember, an acute angle means it's less than 90 degrees. That means it's less than right angles. And all 3 of them must be acute in order to be an acute triangle. Look right here. You can see that this acute triangle does have 3 angles that are less than 90 degrees. Now this one right here does look a little bit close to 90 degrees. However, it is less than a corner. It's less than a right square corner. Therefore, we would call this one acute as well. So, triangles RST and triangle CAB, these are both acute triangles because all 3 angles are acute. So go ahead in your notes and draw an acute triangle. And make sure that you label it as an acute triangle. Now the third type of triangle we're going to learn is called an obtuse triangle. An obtuse triangle is a triangle with one obtuse angle. If you look at these 3 examples of obtuse triangles, there is an obtuse angle right here, and as you can see, angle F would also be obtuse. Now these three are all obtuse triangles, and if you look close, an obtuse triangle will have one obtuse angle, but if you also look closely, the other two angles have to be acute. See how these are acute as well? Angle W is acute because it's less than 90 degrees, and same with angle X. Angle D is acute, angle E is acute. However, we call this an obtuse triangle because one angle is obtuse, and therefore it automatically makes it an obtuse triangle. So will you in your notes write the words obtuse triangle, and then I want you to do your best to draw an obtuse triangle. Now remember, when you draw an obtuse triangle, you're going to make one obtuse angle, and then you're just going to connect the other two vertices together. Remember, those two will both be acute, but this is considered an obtuse triangle because you have one obtuse angle. And don't forget to label it right below in your notes, obtuse triangle. All right, so now you've learned the three different types of triangles: right triangle, acute triangle, and obtuse triangle. Now let's practice. So let's see if we can classify this triangle you see right here. Now, a name for this triangle, I'm going to call this triangle FGH. But we want to go ahead and try to classify triangle FGH by looking at the three different angles that you see. Now, angle F right here is acute, so I'm going to write acute right here in this line. Angle G is a right angle. I'm going to write the word right. And then angle H is also less than 90 degrees, so I will call that an acute angle. Now, based on my notes that we've taken so far, I know that if a triangle has at least one right angle, I know right away that that is called a right triangle. So this triangle, called FGH, is a right triangle. And you probably knew that just by glancing at the triangle. You probably knew right away. Now I want you to look closely at these three different triangles here. We have triangle ABC, triangle RPQ, and triangle XYZ. I want you to answer these three questions, A, B, and C. And then I want you to see if you get it right. So question A says, name the triangle with one right angle. So look at your three choices here, and then I want you to list it right there. Question B says, name the triangle with one obtuse angle. So look at your three choices here, and I want you to list the name of that triangle right there. And question C says, name the triangle with three acute angles. Again, look at your three choices, and I want you to write the name of the triangle for letter C. Remember, whenever you write the name of a triangle, you're going to make a triangle symbol to say the word triangle, and then you're going to put the three letters down. So go ahead, pause the video, and write your three answers down for questions A, B, and C, and then when you're ready, press unpause, and we'll see if you agree with me. Okay, if you just pressed unpaused, then you should have written down for the triangle with one right angle, you should have called it triangle RPQ. Again, it doesn't really matter which order you put the letters in. I like to put the middle letter as the one with the angle that you're identifying. Next one, letter B, name the triangle with one obtuse angle, should have been this third triangle. Triangle XYZ. And the triangle with three acute angles should have been triangle ABC. Because as you can see, all three of those angles are acute. I hope you got them right. Now let's practice some more. Okay, so now your job is to classify each triangle that you see here. Write acute, obtuse, or right. Now, because you're taking notes, do your best to try to sketch out the triangle and write directly below it your word, acute, obtuse, or right. Go ahead and pause the video, and when you're ready, press the unpause. All right, if you just pressed on pause, then you should have written down that this first triangle is going to be called obtuse. The reason why is because I have two acute angles, but I have one obtuse angle that's greater than 90 degrees. Triangle number 2 says that it should be obtuse as well. Now the reason why this one is obtuse is because I still have an obtuse angle here with two acute angles. Now let's look at triangle 3, the third one. I'm going to identify each of these angles. That one's less than 90 degrees. This one is less than 90 degrees, which means a right angle. And this one right here up top is also less than 90 degrees. Therefore, I can classify this as an acute triangle. And last but not least, I'm going to look at my last triangle to classify it, and I believe that it is a right triangle. The reason why it's a right triangle is because this angle right here is a right angle. Therefore, this is a right triangle. I hope you got all 4 of these right. Now let's take a look at this picture of a square. We're going to use square MNPQ shown here. We're going to draw a line segment from point M to point P. We're going to name and classify the triangles formed by the line segments. So go ahead and pause the video, draw a square, label the 4 corners or the 4 vertices, and then draw a line diagonally from point vertice M to vertice P or point P. And then I want you to tell me, what are those 2 triangles that you see hidden inside this square? Please press pause right now. Okay, I went ahead and made my own line segment from point M to point P for you, and yours should look very similar to mine. Now, if I'm going to look at these 2 different triangles that are hidden inside my square, I'm going to notice that this triangle right here has a right angle right here. So if I were to even look and draw a little square on those 2 corners, I can see that this square cut in half or diagonally creates 2 right triangles. So you should have said the type of triangles formed by the line segments are right triangles. So we can say triangle, we could call it MNP, is a right triangle, and triangle MQP is also classified as a right triangle because we have a right angle here and a right angle here with 2 acute angles on both of these triangles. Therefore, they're both right triangles. I hope you got that one right. So here are your 3 short homework questions. Your job is just to write down and classify the name of these triangles that you see here. Look at triangle number 1, FGE, triangle number 2, XYZ, and I want you to classify and name these triangles. Tell me if they're acute, obtuse, or right, and give them a name. Draw the little, that means you're going to draw the little triangle symbol with your 3 little letters just to name that triangle, and tell me what it is. Then question number 3 is a PARCC test prep question. It says, how many acute angles are in an obtuse triangle? You may want to draw that one just to be sure. When you're finished with this assignment, I want you to assess yourself. Go ahead and assess yourself. 1, are you a novice? Are you just starting to learn this and you don't really understand it? Then put a little 1 in your box on the bottom corner of your homework sheet. Number 2, apprentice. Are you starting to get it but you still need some coaching identifying the type of triangles? If you are a 1 or a 2, I would like you to rewatch this video. Number 3, are you a practitioner? Can you do this by yourself, but you might get stuck identifying those triangles? Then put a 3 in the corner of your homework notes. If you feel like you're a 4, an expert, that means that I can give you any triangle, you can look at it, and you would be able to know exactly what type of triangle it is, and you would be able to teach it to someone else. If you're an expert, please put a letter number 4 in your notes. So here are your homework questions again. Have a great night, and don't forget to bring your homework notes tomorrow to class so we can check them together. Have a great night. Bye.